Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed?
Once again, I would like to welcome you to the third annual Benjamin F. Dillingham III and Bridget Wilson LGBT Veterans Wall of Honor ceremony. My name is Ben Cartwright. I am the Director of Community Outreach here at the Center, and I will be helping float the program tonight.
I want to thank Bridget Wilson, who's here, and I don't see Ben Dillingham here tonight, but both of you for lending your names to this really important program of the Center. You know, I think those of you who know the history of this organization knows that one of its very first programs was support for armed services members who lived here in San Diego. You can imagine, particularly at the founding of the Center 40 years ago, why that was so very important to have that kind of support. And so it's so in keeping with the history and the mission of the San Diego LGBT Community Center to have this Wall of Honor, to take the time to acknowledge those who have served in our nation's uniform. I think it's particularly important in a city like San Diego. As you can imagine, I get a lot of opportunities to speak on behalf of the city to conventions and other places, and you know, our culture, our brand in many ways is so deeply associated with the Navy and the Marine Corps, and I think it's only proper that our local LGBT community also has such a strong connection with that. Obviously this weekend we're going to spend a lot of time acknowledging those who served, those who sacrificed at services all around our county.
I did want to acknowledge the Advisory Council who gives of their time to help us select the inductees this year. As the staff liaison to that council, I do appreciate working with these community volunteers who really did give their time to help us vet the nominations we received and really make sure that our wall, you know, gets the best names on it. So I do want to acknowledge Sean Sala, who served as the chair this year, Evelyn Thomas, Linda Sanders, Morgan Hurley, Jackie Atkinson, Jim Cassidy, and Lori Henzik. Interesting series of commitments and emergencies tonight. So the only two that were able to join us were Jim Cassidy and Jacqueline Atkinson. So I want to ask you two to come forward and you'll come to your place on John Carlos Kiesler of the U.S. Army. The U.S. Army in 1969. At his first duty station was the 1st Field Forces Vietnam, where he was assigned to duties as diverse as overseeing artillery-based stand-downs, sand prisoner escort. If you know what that means, you're good. Vietnam was where he first experienced the very closeted but very active gay society of U.S. military life. Those experiences would continue as he rotated into an assignment in northern Italy in the Southern European Task Force. Except for the military's policy to criminally prosecute gays and lesbians, John might have made the Army his career. Using the GI Bill to finish his degree at the University of North Texas, John relocated here to San Diego in 1975. Here he almost immediately became involved in the fledgling gay rights movement, including No on Prop 6, the fight against a ban on all gay and lesbian teachers, which was the fight against a ban on all gay and lesbian teachers in public schools. In 1985, with Jim Woodward and Stan Berry, John helped to found the San Diego Veterans Association, the first organization for gay and lesbian veterans in San Diego. The SDVA also worked to protect the rights of gays, lesbians, and bisexuals actively serving in the military. It would also bring such national notables as Miriam Ben-Shalom and Perry Watkins to speak in San Diego. Because there was a strong peace movement interlinked with the gay rights activists, there was much resistance to working on military-related LGBT rights. The courage of people like Leonard Matlovich helped change minds on both sides of the issue. Calling on his experience working on the gay pride marches in the 70s, John worked with the Veterans Advisory Council to reinstitute the Veterans Day Parade on San Diego streets after a double-decade hiatus. In 1989, he would travel with Stan Berry to Washington, D.C. to share concerns about the treatment of gays in the military, those unrightly discharged, and military members with HIV/AIDS. In the 1990s, he turned his focus to working with people with HIV/AIDS as a benefits counselor at the Center, a quality assurance chair of the HIV Consumer Council, a peer advocate, and the Dean of Strength for the Journey Retreats. He continues that work as a member of the board of San Diego Possibilities, and he's currently on the board of trustees of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego. Congratulations, John Carlos. Next up, we have Robert A. Lehman. When Bob Lehman joined the Marine Corps in 1984, he was following in the footsteps of his grandfather, his father, and his 2 brothers. He proudly served for nearly 10 years, seeing action as an artillery sergeant in the 1st Gulf War, guarding nuclear weapons as an artillery school instructor, and finally the highly regarded placement as a Marine recruiter. Time and again, he was decorated for his service, including the Navy Achievement Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, multiple Good Conduct Medals, and several awards as a sharpshooter. Although a proud Marine, Bob experienced firsthand isolation and discrimination facing LGBT military members. Because of his experience, once a veteran, he took it upon himself to right this wrong, becoming one of the nation's leading activists for open service in the military. In 2001, he founded San Diego's chapter of American Veterans for Equal Rights, hosting its national convention. He lobbied face-to-face with Democratic and Republican members of Congress to urge repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and organized lobbying trips to Washington, D.C. He was a founding member of the Military Education Initiative Board to examine military abuse of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He organized and led the first contingent of gay veterans to march in the San Diego Veterans Day Parade. He became the first openly gay veteran appointed to the San Diego County Veterans Advisory Board, and he was the first openly gay veteran appointed to the 51st Congressional District Veterans Advisory Board. For many years, Bob was a military commentator for several local news organizations, and outside of his military activism, Bob was one of the leading activists for marriage equality, eventually joining his husband of 22 years to become the first two men married in California history. He also co-founded the Stonewall Citizens Patrol, following the brutal gay bashing of 6 gay men during Pride. This group is still going strong, and Bob was actually just awarded last month their Founders Award a few weeks ago. As a result of his contributions, the mayor's office has twice named Robert A. Lehman Days in the city of San Diego. San Diego Pride named him the Champion of Pride, and Land Archives named him one of 20 heroes in the past 20 years. He's received awards from several elected officials, including State Governors Davis and Schwarzenegger, Congresswoman Davis, District Attorney Dumanis, State Senator Kehoe, State Assembly Speaker Tony Atkins, and Police Chief William Lansdowne. Today, Bob is president of the board of the 200-member San Diego Gay Men's Chorus, a role that allows him to celebrate the fruits of his past 15 years of activism and achievements, and in the right setting, allows him to sing a good Johnny Cash song or two. Our next inductee is Thomas Joseph Seguin, U.S. Navy veteran. Thomas J. Seguin is a proud transgender man who currently serves as a civilian comptroller for the Department of the Navy. He has over 19 years of Department of Defense financial management experience, including Navy operational support, Army garrison base support, and Air Force acquisition funds management. Thomas was a storekeeper in the United States Navy for 10 years, ultimately earning the rank of Petty Officer First Class E6. While providing supply support for 2 Navy commands before and during Operation Iraqi Freedom, he earned a Navy Commendation Medal, 2 Navy Achievement Medals, 2 National Defense Medals, a Global War on Terrorism Medal, and 3 Good Conduct Medals. After completing 10 years of distinguished active duty military service, he transitioned to continue his service as a Navy civilian in 2005. He also became the very first civilian to openly transition his gender from female to male in his command. With the full support of his command, his open transition has served as an inspiration to LGBT civilians and service members alike. Additionally, he earned a Bachelor of Arts in 2008, graduating cum laude, while working full-time and was awarded the designation of Certified Defense Financial Manager in 2010. He is currently an active member of the American Society of Military Comptrollers. Early in his transition, he was a member of the now-defunct FTMI San Diego chapter. He co-authored the article He Said, She Said for Flawless magazine with his wife Serafina about their journey as a queer couple in transition to serve as a reference for other couples. He was selected as the keynote speaker for the 10th annual Transgender Day of Empowerment, where many of his colleagues came to hear him speak. He's an active board member for Lambda Archives, a leadership member of the San Diego LGBT Community Center, and also serves on the center's first Project Trans Advisory Committee. He's also mentored other young trans people through their transition and has spoken about his experience on multiple panels to educate people about the trans experience and LGBT issues. Congratulations, Thomas Joseph Seguin. Our next honoree is Dennis Michael Fiordaliso, did I get that right? U.S. Navy. Dennis graduated from the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland in 1970 and served as an engineering officer in the Atlantic and Mediterranean fleets for 4 years, achieving the rank of lieutenant. He also later served as an admiral's aide on the Military Staff Committee of the United Nations Security Council in New York City. In San Diego, he was a founding board member for the Lambda Archives, where he served as treasurer for 16 consecutive years. During this time, he also initiated and helped implement the conversion of the organization's financial records, membership lists, and inventories of books and other collections from hard copy to computer files. He was also a board member of Athletes in Motion and helped organize the participation of 250 local athletes at the Gay Games in Vancouver in 1990, where Team San Diego earned 150 medals, including a silver medal for Dennis in track. In 1992, as a member of the San Diego Veterans Association, he was one of 24 openly gay vets to march as a contingent in the San Diego Veterans Day Parade, the first such activity of its kind by a gay group in the United States. Also, during the past 25 years, he has supported the work of other community groups, including San Diego Frontrunners and Walkers, Diversionary Theater, the San Diego Democratic Club, the Center, and San Diego Pride. Congratulations, Dennis. Yeah, so I'd actually like to call up Bridget Wilson, who will be accepting on behalf of Robert Hall, also known to many in the community as Jess Jessup. Thank you. So, Robert Hall Jessup, known by most in San Diego's LGBT community as Jess Jessup, is one of San Diego's true LGBT pioneers. What is not as well known is Jess's honorable service to the U.S. Navy. It is unclear when Jess first entered the service, but Lambda Archives is in possession of a certificate of honorable discharge dated November 20th, 1969. The Archives also has a copy of Jess's promotion certificate to Hospital Corpsman 2nd Class dated November 16th, 1964. It is believed he reached HC 1st Class. Jess was awarded the Navy's Silver Star for service in Vietnam, but it is said that he refused the honor as he was opposed to the war. Jess came to San Diego in 1969 for college and was one of the early pioneers of our local LGBT community. In 1970, he famously set up an answering machine in the utility closet that served as a helpline to anyone in the LGBT community. That simple answering machine eventually became the San Diego LGBT Community Center, and you can see how it's grown. He also founded the Lesbian and Gay Archives in 1987, which is now known as the Lambda Archives. He was a most active member of the community until his death from AIDS in 1990. So we are proud to posthumously induct Jess Jessup onto the LGBT Veterans Day.
When Bob asked me if I would be willing to accept this honor on Jess's behalf, I felt really privileged to do so. And he also said, "Why haven't we done this before?" And I thought, I don't know why we haven't done this before. Who could ever forget Jess? You do not stand or sit in this place without Jess Jessup. We do not have the political activism in this community without Jess Jessup. To be with. And I have to tell a little story. Don Johnson, who also died of AIDS, and Gary Reese was with me. They are both on. Were laughing when I came into the center one afternoon in 1974, and I said, "What's so funny?" They had arrived back at the center, and Jerry was just standing in the middle of the living room of his house, waving a fly swatter through the air madly. And so Don looked at him and said, "Well, Jess, why don't you wait till it lands?" To which Jess looked at him and said, "That would make a mess."